What if the most powerful brand you'll ever build isn't created in perfect conditions, but in the middle of chaos? What if resilience, reinvention, and showing up fully, even through illness, uncertainty, and business changes, are the real foundations of influence? Today's guest is someone who truly embodies resilience, reinvention, and real-world wisdom. Bron Watson has spent 17 years as a nurse, 13 years as a teacher, and just as long building her own marketing business supporting small business owners across regional Australia. But her story goes far beyond these titles. Bron has faced not just one, but 2 cancer diagnoses. She created the Serenity Project as an honest response to chaos, blending science, lived experience, and deep humanity to help others move from survival mode to something steadier, calmer, and more empowered. As the founder of The Social Coach, Bron helps women show up online in sustainable, healthy ways, without burnout, without pretending, and without losing themselves in the process. If you're all about building a brand rooted in truth, resilience, and showing up as your whole self, messy bits and all, then this conversation is exactly where you need to be. Bron, welcome to the podcast. Well, welcome to the show, Bron. I'm so excited to have you here today. Can you start by telling the audience maybe a little bit about you and your experience?
Well, great to be here. So thank you first. Where do I start? I've had a dual career for a long time. So I'm actually a registered nurse educator in a previous life for a long, long time. But I had a simultaneous career in marketing. So it's very odd that I didn't really understand why I ended up having 2 careers, but I did at the same time. And like one would play out more than the other. So with that background, I learned a lot over the years and started my own business. I think it was 14 years ago now. So coming out of a career like nursing, it was an absolute shock because I was looking at all my friends and I thought, well, it can't be that hard, right? Laugh because thankfully I'm laughing because it was so hard. But I think the thing is that when you keep going and you don't quit, but you keep trying, like we were laughing before because we're both in marketing and we're both going, well, okay, because sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and you keep testing and measuring. But that's the background. And through those times, top that off, in 2017, I had a diagnosis of breast cancer. So that was hell because I'd built a large mentoring business before I'd done that. So online when you see what all the experts tell you to do in building online businesses, well, I did it all. I had the retreats and I had the online programs and I did all the things. And then I had a diagnosis of cancer, which obviously, from a diagnosis on a Thursday to being on an operating table the following Wednesday, there was no time to do anything. Fast forward 5 years from that, I kept the business going. There was a huge change in what I did, and we can talk about that in the questions as we come through. And then, of course, I had a diagnosis of blood cancer. Now, this time it's incurable. So I'm now in a very different place. And it's a fascinating place, and I don't want to say fun, but what's amazing about it is that I now get to speak freely around on what to do and what not to do or how to be when you're wanting to grow your business online, because there's some things you can do and there's some things to put in place first before you want to do all that cool stuff.
Thank you for sharing that with us. When you look at different career paths, you went from nursing to marketing, different work structure too. Those shifts are so long. I couldn't imagine.
They are hard. They are hard.
And they're very hard. And it is just 2 very different professions to go into. So it's kind of interesting that you decided to go into both of those.
I don't even know why. I think, and then I'd switch between one. When I started having children, and I've got 5 children, so when the babies were small, nursing was better. But then marketing came through, and I feel very blessed. I actually taught myself to type back in the day, back when typing mattered. Like, hello. But I literally, I don't want to say it, but I literally conned my way into a position to get myself a marketing coordinator's job, and I learnt on the fly. So I think that change and resilience as an entrepreneur came through back in those days, but I didn't know it at the time. And I'm very blessed, but also it was weird.
Yeah, it is a little bit different, but I think the resilience piece definitely shines through, and you could see that within your careers. And also you mentioned navigating those 2 cancer diagnoses.
Yeah. Yes.
I speak to a lot of marketers, a lot of business owners, entrepreneurs, and one thing that really comes up a lot is the ability to kind of teach yourself through Google and YouTube University, and how amazing that can be for people online. I think one thing with this podcast is I really try to provide a lot of value to my audience, because I don't think, and I went to school for marketing, I think it's changed so much, and you don't really learn, at least for my personal,
Agreed.
can't really learn unless I do it. Like, unless I'm physically put into it and have to do it, like, I could read a textbook about it all day, but until I'm actually applying it, I don't really feel present and that I'm actually kind of doing something, if that makes sense.
Totally. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
So when you think back about those chapters throughout your life and the work that you do today, how did it really shape that work? And also, did it shape the way that you've showed up for others out there too?
Definitely. So let's go back to the nursing days. I think people become nurses because they want to help other people. And I'd actually started a business degree and swapped to nursing. So it was a very odd thing. But I'd walked into a hospital in Sydney and I just walked in and went, Bron, you need to be a nurse. And I loved every minute of it. And I think it's that joy of being able to help someone in a moment and change the trajectory of the day, of the year, of the life. Yeah. And being a part of that, I think that understanding of human connection is what I learnt the most with nursing. And coming through to the marketing side, with marketing, this is when one of the questions you've got coming is around the biggest mistakes people make is that people forget marketing is emotional. Marketing is emotion. It's not pretty colors. It's not how often you post on social media. It's the feeling of the person who sees what you do and the connection that you make. That's what marketing is. So I feel that came through. And then as a mentor, helping with my masterminds and my courses, because I am a master's qualified educator and I'm bringing through all of these skills. So I knew how to teach. So I knew how to explain and understand how the brain works and how the brain learns. And even with technology and where we are in 2026, we as humans, we haven't changed up here. It's how we connect through technology, but humans connect with humans. All right. Yeah. So it's the story. And it's that human, that connected came through. Then bring through the cancer. Now, that lesson I could have done without, to be honest. But what that did was it taught me what's important in life. It taught me that I matter, that I needed to care for myself first, that to be the best version of me, I needed to focus all of the energy and even went down to boundaries. I've been talking recently about boundaries and they're your superpower, and understanding that saying no is not no, it's just not yet, and backing yourself and that you're healing. I'm on a path of healing. So interestingly, for 2026, this is the first year I've actually set a goal for 3 years. But the goal of my business plan actually is the word healing. I never would have done that before. Before it had the business in the middle or the book or the thing. It was something that was not me. Whereas now I'm the center of that. And that's the biggest and powerful lesson I feel as entrepreneurs and business owners is put yourself in the middle and then build what you love, build what is in alignment with you and connect. The connection is just the thing, right? Connection and collaboration is how we grow, and find the people, I'm the CEO of Bron, right? So I'm the CEO. So whether I'm talking about health or business, I bring in the people who I want to help make the decisions. People who understand how to grow a business. Like in health, I've actually got a functional, beautiful doctor who I've met online in Brazil.
Wow.
And I'm in Australia. So it's just about, I feel, bringing in what you have. And when you go through adversity or crisis, you look at what you have and not what you don't.
Yeah, that's some really great takeaways in there. And as you were speaking, I was just taking some notes about some of those topics. So I think ultimately with all of the social media and the digital marketing and all of these outlets, you touched on a really great point, and that is that it all stems back to people and consumer behavior. Yes. Like actually, when I went to school for marketing, the class I loved to go into was like consumer behavior and sociology and understanding like why people do the things they do or what things seem, appealing to some people and not appealing to other people. That whole aspect of the psychology piece of it is so crucial in marketing, and I feel like as we get more and more into like AI content creation, brands are starting to lose that, and it's ultimately translating into businesses too, because people want that relationship and that trust. And if you don't have that in your content, your audience can tell. So that's a really interesting point you brought up there. I also really like that you touched upon like boundaries. Something I like to say too is like, if it's not like an absolute yes, then it's a no. And it doesn't have to be, like you said, no forever. It could just be a not yet. Setting those boundaries, it's so often in entrepreneurship, or even if someone's a digital creator or marketer and they're really wrapped in their career, it's so easy to put the goal first. And I really like that you mentioned, focusing in on what makes you is what's going to shine through in whatever you produce.
Oh, 100%.
That was a really great point. And then it also stems back to the authenticity piece, right? Where like if you're creating content, it's not authentic to you. Your audience can tell it's not going to translate as well. So remembering that you keep yourself at the forefront of that piece, I think is just so crucial and such a great reminder to so many people out there today. So
No, thank you. And I agreed. And especially with AI, I see so many, I see marketers and I love AI. I think AI is fantastic. It's brought in it's a learning tool and it's an efficient, we can do so much more and deeper than we could in the time frame. Doesn't mean we couldn't do it. But let's not forget the human element. And I love it when you see posts online that have been clearly written on AI, not edited. And it's like, guys, we're all so attuned.
yes.
And I look at that and go,
the M dash.
I love the M dash. No M dashes and no short sentences. I know that everyone says, 3 lines and then, three words and three. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Because people go, oh, and you know what happens? I don't know about you, Bex, but this is what I feel and being in the game a long time, when I see clearly a post or an email, EDM, whatever, when I see it and I see that it's been written on AI, and it's been left in that format, what it says to me is you don't care about me because you haven't given me the time to connect with me. Could be wrong. Remembering marketing is emotion. And we don't want that. We don't want it. I want someone actually, and you want to show up that you care.
Absolutely.
Because people want to know that they matter and your ideal customer matters to you, not that just they are someone who's going to get the cash register ringing. So yeah, but we can go all day on that. But it's really, I think that it's, be really mindful. Use it, fantastic, love it. But make great points what you're saying there.
Yeah, it's great for streamlining. It's great for data analysis. Like there are so many benefits of it. However, I do think when it comes to actually creating the marketing strategy or talking to your ideal customer, they're your ideal customer because they're the ones that support your brand because they feel connected to your brand. And if you remove that element of that connection, they're not going to feel as connected to it. And like you said, it's so easy to spot it now that just by them not taking that initial step to even edit out the email a little bit to make it seem a little bit human, could go a long way.
It could go a long way. And you know what? We want to stop the scroll, right? We want to stop the scroll. So how are we going to stop the scroll? And that's by giving a damn about the person who's reading your stuff would be a good start.
That actually transitions great into my next question. So you talk a lot about blending science with humanity to help people find calm. What does that actually look like in practice, especially for someone who may be in the middle of chaos right now?
So where that space comes. So Serenity Project is this place that's been born out of a necessity because what happens with cancer, and it could be the same for business. So insert adversity. I'm just going to use the word cancer. You just screen that out to whatever's going on in your life, is that it's siloed. We have doctors, we have therapies, we have treatment, we have all the different parts and they're all siloed. So the third space is where science meets soul with evidence and perspective. So I created what I looked for because and we don't all need to be research bugs here, guys. It's not about that. It's about finding your people. And I couldn't find them. They were so scattered. And I might have the ability to look, or I might have that resilience to go, hang on, there must be an answer out there. I don't know what it is yet. But when you pull that together, when we respect science, we respect evidence, but we also respect wisdom, which is the soul. And perspective is, my man, I got 30 years of experience in this place. I know this place well. And when you're the patient in the bed, whole different ballgame. So convert that into an adversity in business, that it's not going the way you want, and the ruminations and the things, right? We want to find your people. We want to find your third space because you can't know it all. For me, let's talk about the cancer. We don't need to be the research scientists. That's their job. So don't read the research scientist articles because you won't know what you're reading. Leave it to people who know what they're reading, but be able to disseminate that information so that it makes sense, which is people like you, Bex. You're making marketing, you're making branding make sense. And once you understand what makes sense, in my world, we do the next thing. We don't do next week. We don't do next month. We just do the next thing. So that's where that third space came from. And it is a community because that's obviously what I stand for. It's community. We collect, we collaborate. There's loads of, I have my experts in there. Why? Because I'm not a psychologist, but I've got a beautiful trauma psychologist who is. So we want to bring in the experts, and that's the same in business. We want to bring to, and this is if I could go back to myself 14 years ago, you don't know what you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But if you put yourself first in the middle of your 12-month goal, put yourself there as you, human you, not business you, and then find the right way and find the people around you to find the answers, because you just don't have it all.
Yeah.
I know that was a
great.
very long answer.
Yeah, it was very helpful. I think the way you explained the Serenity Project makes a lot of sense. And it's so for a lot of people in business that I speak to, especially on this show, one common obstacle is that they focus so much on the business itself. Obviously, there's a lot going on in everybody's life that we don't know about. And so we kind of only see what they put out there on the internet. So we only really see sometimes that could be as easy as saying, oh, they're an overnight success, or oh, their page took off really fast, or oh, their business grew so fast. And you don't see the behind the scenes of that. And as entrepreneurs and creators, often we find that there's that loneliness feature where they're like so enwrapped in what they're doing, and it's hard to find other people to relate to that are also going through that.
Yes.
You could find a culture, I think, often too, if you work somewhere where there's a lot of other people or things like that. But when people are really diving into starting a business or doing something different, I think that's when you see a lot of the loneliness kick in. We see that with creators. I speak to a lot of creators on this space. Their friends and their family aren't the ones that really get what they're doing, and they're trying to build something. They're also not their niche audience and their target consumers. It's not like they're creating content for them. They're creating it for whoever they're speaking to. And that lonely too, because other people around you don't necessarily understand what you're doing or what you're trying to build. So I really think this is such a great opportunity for people to connect with other people going through something. It doesn't have to be the same thing, but I think anytime you're faced with adversity, having a network or a community to kind of rely on, or to even just to talk it out, like you said, is so important. For a lot of business owners too, it can be so hard to outsource different areas of the business. And I like that you brought up, it's not, you're not an expert on everything, which we're all not. So, but it can be hard sometimes to do that. I can just say, let someone else run my business the way I want to. It's not.
Well, it's all well and good to say, let's delegate, but we all know that to get the delegation, we've got to get the clients in. So we've got to get the lead generation started, and then we've got the lead nurture, and people don't buy straight away. And then, it's this whole swag of, but when we focus on delivering what we say we're going to deliver and be that human being, when you are so committed to your goal, when I say goal, it could be vision, it could be your space in the world that you want to change. As a content creator in marketing, when you want to do it your way. So in my business, the social coach, we call it the Bron & Co method. So it's my method. Does everybody else do it too? Probably. But we do it my way. So find that way that is your framework around what you do and what makes you unique. Like, honestly, to this day, I'm sure my family still don't know what I do.
Yeah.
Because they don't understand. It's you can't have that conversation. And when you are not in a position to delegate, what do? Well, you do the do, but you don't do it at the cost of your health. You don't do it at the cost of your energy. Like, to me, business 101, we should be talking about energy. We should be talking about that feeling inside when you know that you've gone too far, you've pushed it. I'm sure you feel the same. There are times when you go, whoop, done it, gone too far.
Yeah.
Listen up, people. Listen up, which means it's not a race. It's not a race. And when you start running a business on energy and self, when I say self, I'm saying that to be the best leader, we're all leaders, right? To be the best leader in your space, you want to look after, you got to show up. You got to look after the insides, guys. We can't just hustle our way through it. How do I know? I've done that. And when you do that, something will break.
Yeah.
And sadly for me, it was a tragedy of health, but one that I've chosen to live through. And so I remember very clearly what it was like to grow and not be able to delegate. Okay, cool. I can do it all. I've done that's what I laugh with my team. It's like, guys, I've done everything. Literally done every job, every single job here. I know exactly how long it takes, and I know what needs to be done, which means we provide. So when you hone your craft, what's his name? I'll get the name of a book. He's the best guy that I think that explains how to scale properly. And I think that's the key is knowing how to do that. And you don't know that, because how could you possibly know that? But don't beat yourself up what you don't know. Does that make sense?
It does. And I think it's something that a lot of either, marketers, creators, business owners, founders, it's very easy to get wrapped up in your work and to forget about one, taking care of yourself. And then also when you over say yes or you overcommit yourself, that's when you don't do your best work. So you're not going to get the
Correct.
best outcome. I think it can, like, I am someone that has definitely spread themselves thin before in the past. When you try to get everything done, that you're coming from a place of stress, a place of urgency, a place of I need to get this done, instead of approaching it like you said, with feeling that energy of like, this is what I'm supposed to do, this is what I want. Like, there's a different way to kind of approach the tasks, and I think that can really translate in the work that you're doing. So very insightful. I think a lot of people can relate to that. I often think too, it's hard to take a step back and to say, oh well, I'm gonna have someone else do this aspect of it, especially if you're someone that's more type A or likes the way certain things are done. Yeah, that can definitely translate, and ultimately it can translate with business owners. I think they often experience burnout. So through the social coach, are there any unhealthy patterns that you see, and this could be about social media or marketing as a whole, that business owners are doing? And then what would be a healthier alternative to that?
Look, it's a really good question. I think the biggest thing that I see is that business owners don't respect social media marketing, meaning that, as I said before, marketing is emotion, right? So when you respect and love on your community, aka ideal client, we have many ideal clients, when we love on them with zero expectation in return, which means that we are providing a space and knowledge. So forget, you could have 200 followers who are raving fans, or 2,000 or 20,000 or 200,000 who don't give a damn because they're not connected with you. So we want to focus on the ones that matter, and we want to love on them. We want to show respect to those people. And we do that through our marketing. We do that through our social media with zero expectation. That's the first one, because people are just throwing stuff to sell stuff. Stop trying to sell to me. I don't want to be sold to. And then, as we said before, you're now using AI to save yourself time. Yep, I agree. It's a fantastic tool. It's a fantastic tool to help you with your content, but there's a way to use it well.
Right.
Versus disrespecting that ideal customer. And again, I'm talking psychology. That's what you talk about with branding. So that's one thing that I see a lot of, is that businesses don't respect this amazing tool. It's free, for goodness sake. I mean, I know there's time, and time is money to put stuff in, but you're not paying advertising. Build it.
Right.
That's the first thing. And the second one, the second part, to me, in social media, there's two parts. There's the content creation and publication, and then there's the engagement. People put stuff out, but they don't engage, and then wonder why people don't engage with them. Why? Because psychologically, I know this to be true because I have evidence behind me, is that when you put out, what you put out is what you get back. So when you start putting out there and you're commenting and you're being genuinely commenting, not getting an AI tool to do it for you, or train that AI tool to be you, please.
Right.
You know what I mean? Train it to be you. Don't just say, hey, emoji, that's awesome. Like, yeah, whatever.
Right.
Versus a genuine comment. And spend 10 minutes a day with zero expectation, but it comes back. It just does. I did a lot of training with a lady called Jennifer. She ran, she was a part of the Barack Obama's second social media campaign. So I know what she does works. And what I learned then is as applicable today, 10 years later. So that training taught me that the fundamentals, and it hasn't changed, because people connect with people. And why are they on social media? Because they want to escape their reality. So let's make it real and valuable. Yeah. And to me, that's the biggest thing, is just be real. Tell the real story.
Yeah, no, I love that. I think also what we're seeing a huge rise of is the founder-led businesses on social media, and having people that are actually in the business advocating for the company.
Hundreds. Yeah. I've had many an argument with a business owner going, well, I don't want to be on camera. And I said, well, people need to see you.
Right.
Why? Because if they don't see you, they want to connect with you. And why? Because how are they going to trust you if they don't know who you are?
Right. That's a great point.
I think
yeah, I know. And you
can do that. You just say, you can do videos, as we all know. We can do faceless videos, but it's still you.
Yeah. And it has to be your, like, you can train AIs and things like that, but it has to be your tone of voice. It has to be your initial thoughts first before you put it into the AI. So
100%. Yeah. Agents are great, right? Build an agent. I mean, agents are awesome, but it's how you use it and what's it there for. All right. Because human connection. It's if we lose that humanness, so we have AI intelligence, we have human intelligence. So that's what I'm talking about with the disrespect of what social media really is for a business, not for the relationship building and the connection as a person. That's part of it, yes. But that same feeling, why do you show up?
Right.
Would you show up into a room as a networking room with 100 people and just go, yeah. That's
Yeah,
the same.
That's
The
great.
same.
Yeah,
You know?
right.
What the hell is that dickhead doing?
Yeah, it's
the same.
a great point. I also think too, businesses, because so organic socials, it's hard sometimes to communicate to business owners the importance of it because you don't see necessarily a direct ROI from an organic post. So when you look at organic social, you're playing the long game here. I mean, you want people to
very, very long game.
Very long game, but people remember you, people feel connected to your business. And I think for a lot of founders too, if you're going to start a business and you were a digital creator, like if you brought the audience along with you for the journey, once you finally launch that business, you have people that are like passionate about what you're doing because it's you. And
correct.
I think a lot of times business owners are like, oh, well, it's an organic post and, I didn't see a direct sale come from that post. Maybe not, but you now have people that know a little bit more about you and that relationship starts to build and it compounds over time. And then people start to learn more and more about it and they get more invested. And it's not just another ad on the feed either, where we can see so many ads every day and we completely forget what they are by the time,
That's right.
So really great point there.
Yeah, I talk about this thing called the 63, right? So imagine you and I in a room, there's 100 people in this room. So this is based on evidence too, by the way, statistics. 3 people are ready to buy now. The next 30, I don't know if you've ever heard this analogy before. So the next 30, so the front rows of your room, they are people go, oh, Bex, that's super cool. I really like that. I'm going to follow you and, I'm going to, might see your stuff. I'm going to see it, but I'm not going to do anything for maybe 6 months. I'm just there because I really liked it. I connected on that very first 3 seconds. And then the next 30 in the next rows are people going, oh, wow, that's super cool. I like what you're doing there, Bex, but I'm over here and I'm doing my thing and I'm going on holidays and I'm only building. So I'm so focused. I haven't got any time or any capacity to think about branding right now. They could be 9 to 18 months in this space. The last 37 are people who are never going to work with you, who are never going to resonate with you, and they're just not your people. I find a lot of the time in marketing, people focus on either the 3 or the 37. Please don't try to convert the ones that are never going to be your people. If you have a goal as a content creator to connect with that audience, no matter what, focusing on the 63. So from day 1 to day 180. That's how long it may take for that person to finally go, oh, hang on a minute. Who is that person again? Who's Bex again? Oh, my God, that's right. I want to go and find out about what she does.
Yep. That's great advice.
So it's not about just posting crap for the sake of it. It's about the long game. And what social media does, that organic space, is it provides an absolute foundation that no matter where anybody goes, they're going to know who's Bex. And she's found no matter where she goes. And that's where we mix out the real relatable storytelling side of business. And so that means that, as you're doing your socials and you're thinking, oh, I haven't got a sale, it comes back in other ways when you go with a heart of what I call a servant's heart. Call it an old-fashioned term, I know. But that servant heart of giving for the sake of giving with zero expectation in return, it comes back in weird and wonderful ways. You might get asked to, I had a client who was an interior designer. Well, she got a double page spread in a national magazine. Wow, cool. Why? Because she was consistent on social media.
Yeah, that's great.
That was it. She was consistent. Didn't even matter what she put out. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I totally understand that. I think you touched on a really important point there, and that's attracting your people. Like your social media isn't going to be for everyone. The content that you're sharing, if you're a creator, if you're a business, you're not trying to appeal to everybody. You're trying to appeal to your target consumer. And the people that follow along with you and feel connected to you, those are the people that are going to potentially convert down the lines.
Yes.
So important to continue to deliver value to them and also to be like, they can follow anybody online. So you have to kind of think about that gratitude piece of like, wow, this is so nice that they took the time to follow me or to comment or to send me a message, like to show that appreciation. It goes a long way both ways. And that's how you form that relationship. It's also it can also convert in other ways too, right? So yes, a direct sale maybe, but maybe you start an email list and then you have a bunch of people who follow you join your email list. Well, that's great. Now they have another way, you have another way to connect with them, and that could convert into something down the line, a sale or some sort of ROI. But to get people that passionate that they're signing up to have you contact them in another way, like through email or through SMS or whatever it is.
And isn't that the goal? Isn't that the goal? To drive them down, doesn't matter how they come in. We want them there so we can have that long-term relationship with them.
Yeah, that's great. So you work really closely with a lot of small business owners in Australia. Are there any unique challenges that they face, and how can they build visibility and community without feeling like I have to do everything online?
Look, it's a tough one. And just so you know, it doesn't matter where you live. I've worked with people in the US, Thailand, the UK. It doesn't matter. We're all the same.
Right.
We all have the same challenges. And that is, it's a slog. And that means that it takes time. So the unique challenges, I feel that when you are a small business owner and you are everything, is time, because time is money. And where do you put your time? So I feel that when it comes to, when you're growing a business, we do the what I call the money making exercises first. So whatever that does, that happens. But I find that because of people's misunderstanding of the value of core marketing, that they either A, don't like social media themselves, or B, don't want to be on the videos, that's fine, but they don't understand how the return on investment of that very small piece. And I'm looking for quality. I'm looking, if you are pushed for time, I say to people, one quality post is better than 5. But post on the same day every week. Just do your Monday special, your Tuesday special. It doesn't matter what it is. And tools are so easy edits are so cool. Like, there's so many cool little tips in that space. But understand that to grow that business, people need to know about you. So get out of the deliverable, I have 5 pillars in business. One of them is the deliverable. So that's delivering the online courses, or it's building the things, right? That's the easy stuff. But do the harder things first, which are the money-making exercises first. And so that challenge is worldwide. And what does that mean? And that could be, I've got a client who was just sending out quotes for he's in the trades. There was no phone call. Said, get on the phone. Well, I don't have time. I said, well, let's allocate half an hour beginning of the day. 20 phone calls, 3 converted.
Wow.
I'm talking thousands and thousands of dollars. Is it worth it? Absolutely. But it's finding a way. Because if you want to grow your business, there is no easy way. There is no silver bullet. You have to do the work.
Right.
And it's sometimes it's not fun. It's just not fun.
Yes. That is,
so removing that emotion, removing the emotion, and staying so true to the goal, to the vision of why you're doing it in the first place.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm building Serenity Project. It's like building a new business. And there are days I question myself. I go, why the heck are you doing this? Why? Because I'm focusing on the goal, the vision of collectively that we will make a change in the way that we care for our patients through cancer. It is as simple as that. Yeah. And they go, cool. Okay, well, I'm just doing my bit, That's my bit. So
I think a lot of people can relate to doing the hard things on their to-do list first versus saying, so, we all do this. I think whatever your profession is, you have your list of things that you're going to do today. And sometimes the easier things make their way to the top of the list and they take up more time. So then by the time you get to the harder stuff, you're like, oh, well, maybe we'll pick that up tomorrow. And it keeps getting pushed down. But definitely not everybody's favorite thing to do.
That's right. Stop creating stuff on Canva. Get yourself out of there, I needed that reminder. Get yourself, because that's the deliverables, right? Yeah. So I have lead generation, lead nurture, which is why that whole 1 day to 180 days thing, we nurture. People miss the nurture part. And then we've got the sales conversions, and we've got the deliverables, and then we've got the follow-up and the resale. So people, once they make the sale, that's it, we're done. No, they're not. The best way to grow that business is to work with the people who you've already sold to, because they already know and love and trust you. So what can you provide them? So it's just that we'd like to do, especially if you are a creative. My goodness, is there some cool people out there? Oh my God.
Right.
Because I've got one of my graphic designers in my edit. I'm sending reels, I'm sending Instagram. They're going, Bron, stop.
It's gotten so creative and so cool to see all the different things.
Cool.
Video editing.
But do the money making exercises first. And you have to commit to that, because if you want to grow your business, there is no way around it. I hate to say it, there is no way. And when adversity comes, like it's happened to me, it's around then. And that's one thing I was going to mention before, is that I find that businesses don't have good systems. And because for me, the system is what saved the social coach. What saved me was the system, because I couldn't be in it. And I brought in a person, what I called my right-hand gal, Linda. She came in, but the system saved me. So understanding that you can create systems really easily. You can record yourself doing stuff. You can have AI create those processes and systems for you so that you get better and better at what you do. And that's where efficiencies come in, which is that's when you can start to delegate. And you've already got it done. Here, this is what you do. And you have a system to back you up.
That's great advice. I think something too, you can get really caught up, like you said, on that content creation piece. And often one thing I like to stress too on the show is doing time batching for content creation, just 100%. To be a little bit more efficient with your time. You don't realize that even recording this podcast right now, which I know we're over, sorry about that. You can get so much short form content from one long form video. And you have to think about your time in that aspect. Like you said, does it make sense for you to sit down and record a bunch of different video clips and edit them and do all these things? Or what's more efficient use of your time? So also doing things that move the needle, I think, is so important too. Often we can say,
and using tools like Riverside. We're using Riverside. I love Riverside, Descript, whatever. They are amazing tools.
Yep.
Invest in it. It is worth every cent. Why? Magic moments. It gives you the transcript. Then you've got all of the things done. Sweet. And it's not just a podcast. Yeah.
Right.
And everywhere you show up, guys, no matter where you are and what you do, it is beautiful content. That's the stuff people want to see. Mm-hmm. Walking down the aisles in the shopping centre, people want to see not what you're buying and not do. I know that's beautiful for millennials, and I love you guys for it. But it's about, if that's your thing, do it. I love that.
Yeah.
So don't forget, you just need a phone and a really good quality mic to plug in the bottom, and off you go.
Off you go. Yep, that's great. So as we wrap up this episode, if there's someone listening who's feeling overwhelmed, whether it's for their business, their health, or their life, what's one gentle but powerful shift that they can make this week to move from that survival mode state towards serenity?
I think the biggest thing that what I encourage people to think about is that when you have those feelings, when they're coming up and there's whatever's happening, just allow yourself to feel the feels. Feel it. Name it. Overwhelm, fear, not being good enough, whatever. Name that feeling. It is so important. Psychologically, the science tells us when we name that feeling, it's almost like we step back one space. And when we have space, we can start to think. So then the next thing we do is we look at the controllables. What is controllable in this moment in time?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the times it's not something you can control right now. Cool. We do not give energy to the things we cannot control. Then we've allowed that space. We pause, we reflect, and then we respond, because then we're not emotionally reacting. We're actually responding from a beautiful, calm space. And that literally can start with box breathing like the SEALs do. Breathe in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4. You do that, you're thinking, right, Bron. It's absolutely valuable and it works, because that provides the pause, which then literally the science, I'm not going to go into the science now, but it's literally with your neuroscience, it's allowing your brain to get out of fight and flight, let your frontal lobe kick in, and then you can go, right, okay. What's next? The one next thing. Not tomorrow, not next year, but the one moment right now. What's the one thing I can do right now? That's what I would suggest you do.
That's great advice. What a powerful conversation. Thank you so much for coming on my podcast. I really like that you talked about focusing on the next step instead of the entire staircase. That helps me at least kind of take a step back. Sometimes I get wrapped up in my work and I'm like, all right, what needs to get done right now?
And guys, it's normal. It's normal. But when you stop for that pause, it's a very powerful thing, and your business will change, guaranteed.
Yeah, that's great advice. And thank you. I really appreciate you sharing your wisdom with us and your honesty and also your lived experience with us today. It means a lot to my listeners, and I'm really excited to get this episode out there. So really appreciate your time. Thank you, Bron.
Thanks, Bex. Thanks for having me.
Bron, what a powerful conversation. Thank you for sharing your wisdom, your honesty, and your lived experience with us today. And to everyone listening, if this episode resonated, make sure you connect with Bron, share this conversation, and remember, the most powerful brand you can build is the one that allows you to show up fully, exactly as you are. We'll see you next time on Branding with Bex. Keep showing up, keep creating, and keep building your story.